In a world that's just overflowing with information, probably the single most important skill you can have is knowing how to think for yourself. So today, we're going to build that mental toolkit. The one that helps you cut through all the noise and form your own conclusions. Let's get right into it. Do you ever feel like you're just drowning in information? I mean, you've got opinions, data, notifications, all coming at you from every single direction. It's almost impossible to figure out what's real and what actually matters, right? Well, what if the biggest hurdle isn't all that noise out there, but actually the shortcuts that are happening inside our own heads? See, our brains are wired to be efficient. They use these little mental shortcuts. We call them cognitive biases to save energy. And that's great sometimes, but a lot of the time it comes at the cost of clear, accurate thinking. But here's the good news. We can actually train our brains to get around this. The solution is to develop what you could almost call a cognitive superpower. It's this really potent combination of analytical and independent thought. And you know what the best part is? It's a skill. That means anyone can learn it. Okay, so first up is analytical thinking. I want you to think of this like being a mental detective. It's all about taking a big, messy, complicated issue, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable pieces, and then figuring out how all those little pieces connect to each other. And its partner in crime is independent thinking. This one is all about having the intellectual courage, the personal responsibility to form your own conclusions. It's not just about blindly accepting what you're told, but really digging in to understand and verify things for yourself. Now, these two ideas are pretty powerful on their own, but when you put them together, they're absolutely transformative. Think of it like this. Analytical thinking is the how. It gives you the actual toolbox for doing sharp analysis. But independent thinking, that's the why. It gives you the motivation and the guts to actually use those tools, even if it means going against the grain or challenging your own long-held beliefs. So how do we actually build this amazing toolkit? Well, it all starts with mastering a few absolutely foundational skills. So this toolkit is built on a few core pillars. First, you've got critical thinking. That's kind of like the main operating system for your brain. Then there's logical reasoning, which helps you connect the dots correctly. And problem solving, which is all about applying that logic in the real world. You've also got pattern recognition and data analysis. These help you find the hidden story inside all the information. And then, tying it all together, you have open-mindedness and reflective thinking, which is really the ability to step back and ask, wait, how am I actually thinking about this? Okay, knowing the skills is one thing, but building them, that takes practice. So let's get into the thinker's training regimen. These are daily exercises you can do to make these skills feel like second nature. The first part of your training is really about active inquiry. You have to start by questioning everything. And I mean everything, especially your own assumptions. Don't just take information at face value. Actively hunt for the evidence behind it. And then apply this to your everyday life. Break down a news story you read, a problem at work, or even a big personal decision. The one core habit you need to build is actually really simple, but so powerful. Instead of just passively soaking up information, train yourself to automatically pause and ask, okay, how do I actually know this is true? Next up, you gotta work out those cognitive muscles. Games like chess or Sudoku aren't just for fun. They're actually training your brain for strategic thinking and pattern recognition. You can also use structured tools like mind maps to get your thoughts organized visually. And, this is a big one, build a library of mental models. These are just frameworks from different fields, like economics or biology, that give you multiple ways to look at any single problem. And finally, your training involves other people, and, well, yourself. Actively seek out people who think differently than you. It's seriously one of the best ways to spot your own blind spots. Journaling is also fantastic because it forces you to structure your thoughts, and you'll immediately see where the weak points are. And hey, if you really want to know if you understand something, try explaining it to somebody else. It's the ultimate test. But look, even with the best training regimen in the world, there are going to be roadblocks. And the biggest ones aren't out there somewhere. They're our own cognitive biases. So let's break these down. It is so crucial to understand this. These biases are not a sign of being unintelligent. Not at all. They're hardwired into every single one of us. It's just the brain's way of saving a little bit of energy. But that efficiency, it comes at the cost of accuracy. And it leads to these predictable errors in our judgment. All right, here are some of the most common culprits. You've got confirmation bias, which makes us seek out information that just agrees with what we already think. The only real way to fight it is to actively go looking for evidence that could prove you wrong. Then there's anchoring bias, which makes us fixate on the very first thing we hear. To fix this, you have to make sure you get multiple data points before making a decision. Groupthink. That's when the desire for harmony in a group becomes more important than finding the truth. You have to intentionally encourage people to disagree. And finally, to counter overconfidence, you just need to practice some intellectual humility. Constantly ask yourself, what if I'm totally wrong about this? What might I be missing? Defeating these biases and building these skills, look, it's not a one-time fix. It's about committing to a journey, really a lifelong habit of practice. And let's be super clear about this. Nobody is just born a great thinker. It's a skill, just like playing the guitar or learning a sport. It's a habit that gets forged through consistent, conscious effort, day in and day out. And why does all this matter? Well, because this toolkit, you can use it everywhere. At work, it's going to help you solve tough problems and make way smarter decisions. In your personal life, it brings so much clarity to those huge choices we all have to make. And as a citizen, it empowers you to cut through all the political noise and engage meaningfully with the world around you. So as we wrap this up, I've got a challenge for you. Don't just file this information away somewhere. Use it. So what's the first assumption, the first thing you take for granted that you're going to challenge, starting right now?